Y'all, it's really looking like the early 90s in my head right now, the way these two are competing for my attention. Yo, Pcaara here, and I promise the Sonic video is coming up sometime this year, but the Mario movie Brainrot has literally been nipping at my heels since I saw it in April, and I just have to talk it out, okay? So, because I'm still working on the Sonic video script, I feel like this video can be done really quickly. I present... Okay, so already Jack Black's Bowser is coming out the gate with I'm finna carry this movie energy, but someone I never even considered might be on my list of favorite characters is Comic. Like, his voice just fits so well, and the way he uses his magic to make the staircase for Bowser to saunter up is just really, really cool. Also, why is he so excited? Mans is really bricked up watching Bowser burn some ice, and honestly, mood. The animation and the sound effects on this shit is just mwah. Actually, while we're on it, the animation, soundtrack, and sound effects overall are amazing in this movie, so I only comment on the outstanding bits of that department rather than mentioning it each time. And we already saw the scene in the teaser for the most part, so I don't have too much to go into here, but I will say I liked all the little dialogue changes between the two, like Bowser's
or die
at the end of him saying open the gate. And there's just something about this laugh that also makes me giggle. He's just so pleased with himself. Speaking of being pleased, we're faster than the others, you'll be hooked on the brothers. I just really like that part of the song, okay? I think it hits on that part of me that likes producer tags and call outs. Now, I didn't grow up with the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, but I'm familiar with the opening song. That said, I saw the Super Bowl teaser and nearly lost my mind seeing it in full. Just where do I even start? The character designs for Mario and Luigi are so cute. Obviously, there's more textures to things like their clothes and their skin, so they feel more alive than ever. But it's the squash and stretch of the character animations for me personally. And I love the way their differences in personality are displayed right out the gate, with Mario doing most of the talking and Luigi backing him up. Side note though, I just have to say, this line sounds hilariously questionable with an equally amazing reaction. So much so that I don't know if it was meant to be out of pocket or if I'm just devious Deja. The craziest thing this commercial did though, wait, I have to do this before I move on. Mamma mia! It made me immediately okay with Chris Pratt Mario. Made me love him even. Because the idea of their accents being a shtick and then it's just cutting to some tiny little Italian men with full-on Brooklyn accents is not only funny as fuck, but it also gives reason for why Mario just sounds like a dude, and gives a solid argument for why you wouldn't want to hear those canon voices throughout the whole movie, in my opinion. And okay, so I know we just got into this, but I do want to take a little break real quick to read a text message that I sent my friend before the movie. It was sent at 4 a.m. on March 31st, nearly a week after my surgery and after hours of a failed attempt at sleeping on a recliner. So it was prime Deja crackhead energy hours is what I'm saying. Anyway, it reads, and I quote, "I'm so excited to see the relationship between Mario and Luigi. It seems like Mario is really protective, and Luigi is the timid but secretly sassy type. And I love the fact that he's younger and shyer, but also taller and probably low-key coddled by Mario without either of them realizing. And I'm so excited to discover their dynamic. I hope we get to see at least a little of their casual lives living in literal Brooklyn IRL before this shit hits the pipe. Like, show me them trying to perform a job. Show me Luigi being that one guy that says, 'What's up?' to everybody casually on summer mornings because they know he wouldn't hurt a fly, and is just out packing up their work truck at 7 a.m. because it's cooler like usual. Show me Mario struggling to be the cool uncle type to the neighborhood kids so their parents will be hooked on the brothers and want to use their services. Show me him trying to crunch some shit so their bills gonna be good this month. Where they live? What kind of condition is it in? It seems like they moved out of home and straight together to start plumbing. I don't know, but I want to see all that shit. And the more clips I see, the more possibilities swirl around. And to be honest, I welcome the new Brainrot. I say all this so you can see how hungry I was for this content, but also to call the next 15-ish minutes overstimulating would be quite the understatement. Boom! We instantly get some brotherly dynamics with Mario bucking up the fight to protect Luigi, and then later with him assuring that everything's gonna be okay as long as they're together. As far as Luigi is concerned, he displays such a natural sense of neuroticism that both bounces off of and gels super well with Mario. I mean, the dynamic is pretty much shown in every scene, but the one of Luigi taking the call for their first customers, them both being allowed to get excited, and then Mario's reactions and Luigi subsequently toning it down when he realizes that he's misspoke before awkwardly fumbling his way off the phone it's so nice. It's one of my faves. I'll talk about the neuroticism and such later, much later, when I get to the characters, but right now it's time for a totally unexpected platform scene that gave me way more than I asked for. I mean, dynamic-wise, this scene is incredible. Mario's still looking out for Luigi by putting down platforms, opening fences for him, etc., etc. It's giving real little sibling cousin playing player 2 vibes, you know? But not only that, I got my Luigi taking time to wave at people all the way to the gig. And granted, he probably cost this man his life, or at the very least his job, but that's not important. We actually got a scene of them taking clients and doing their day job, which at first I was like, why is this extended scene of them fighting this Secret Life of Pets dog here? But then I remember Shigeru Miyamoto apparently had a very distressing experience with a neighborhood dog when he was younger, which in turn influenced the Chain Chomp. And that not only made me appreciate the scene more, but also made me wonder if there was a scene with a Chain Chomp that was cut from the movie, since the first portion of this movie is clearly setting up parallels for what they can and can't do in the world from the games with that platforming scene we had earlier. And then we got the most shocking scene out of this beginning portion. We got to meet their family! Like, their real family, which was just a treat for me, because y'all who know me know I love to both write and analyze character dynamics, especially between family. Also, I love to reverse engineer family members for certain characters, so I can only imagine how much fun and challenge it was to sort through old concepts and put together what would be believable family members for these chubby little mascot characters. Though I will say there's an uncle or something that looks exactly like Luigi and an actual regular sized child at the table, so it kind of makes me giggle thinking about Mario and Luigi in comparison, knowing they're supposed to be grown men. I don't know, maybe they on their saying grind or something. The family dynamic here is crazy, because it's that typical situation of everyone busting your balls until one person doesn't get the memo and slips their honest opinions in there, unconcealed by jokes. And then the dog-piled party storms off, and now look at y'all, dinner quiet as hell. I do think this whole scene and the one that follows gives some insight into Mario and Luigi that I'll go into later on when I talk about their characters, but yes guys, they did it. They gave Mario daddy issues. There's not much else I want to touch on in the beginning of the film besides the fact that, one, you know Luigi's scary ass would have been screaming on the way to getting sucked down this pipe. So the fact that there was no noise or even a shriek when he disappeared, it's just kind of funny to me. I know it's more tension that way, but still. And two, going back to the everything's gonna be okay as long as we're together scene, it really is heartbreaking how right after Luigi was finally able to trust in the safety his brother provided, he's immediately violently ripped away into the worst possible world imaginable. As a matter of fact, let's just call this movie Super Mario Bros. Luigi's Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. Because every time they cut from Mario gallivanting in the Mushroom Kingdom to Luigi going through actual biblical trials and tribulations, I wanted to holler. Especially when they cut it like this. But okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. So here's where I said I'd point out certain character animations that stood out to me. Cause little actions like the way Mario hears these things before he sees them, looks around, and then is just silently like, oh fuck. And then him hearing this thing walk along and bracing before folding in on himself and giving this normal ass hello. It really, in my opinion, started selling the humor of him essentially being just a dude and being isekai to this world and the possibilities that come from that. Also, hi Toad! I don't really have too much to say about Toad besides the fact that I'm glad his voice is toned down quite a bit from the games while still keeping his character on 100 at all times. His energy is infectious. He's a cool guy when he's on screen. There's just not a lot of depth to him, which is expected of a side character. I do love the little bit of him leaving the stick in the mushroom, and I also love that I'm not sure if it's because he got wrapped up in his spiel or because he figured Mario did not have hops like that. Also, yes, this musical flair did make my heart swell. I don't know, this movie is just so pretty, man. Oh, guys, look, they did the thing! I had heard from somewhere a while back that Luigi was Mario's younger, more athletic brother, and considering my last Mario game was Sunshine, I've never really gotten to play Luigi, and the scene earlier from the movie wasn't giving him any props, so I was wondering if that was maybe a misconception. But nah, he dropped that toolkit and hit the jets immediately. It sucks he wasn't looking out for the tree branch, but the way I would have been burnt up crispy a few yards back, you're doing better than me. So while Luigi's out here fighting for his life, Mario's out here getting his blue-collar worker on, staring down fish and admiring pipes only to fuck around and find out. And then we meet the princess herself, Princess Peach Toadstool the First. Not gonna lie, when this happened, the way I went from I know you better not to god damn, you don't have to do him like that. Not to mention this line here.
He will eat you for breakfast. He won't even notice it probably because you're very, very small.
Had me like, maybe Peach is finna be cool after all. I do have to say, the way she examined Mario's nose and his reaction cracked me up. Cause I would spend hours just fucking around with Mario's face on the Mario 64 title screen. And not gonna lie, his nose was always the funnest part to mess with. I also really like how this scene played out, with Mario adding the little please at the end after Peach's look. By the way, Peach's looks are something else we'll get back to later because them bitches get killed. After Peach absolutely shows why she might be wifey material after all and makes my heart flutter with that float ability I used to absolutely abuse in Melee, we get the next natural step from Mario's dislike of mushrooms, followed by a pretty entertaining and speedy montage. But not before in a somewhat uncomfortable growth scene that really reconnected me with my DeviantArt PTSD, not gonna lie. I love the bit when Mario's almost finished the course and tries to put the Riz on Peach in the last stretch. But now where you at? Looking stupid. I love the scene where he's constantly eating mushrooms to bigify, ends up throwing one up, and then immediately shrinks back down to his regular size while Peach pats him on the back. It's the little character interactions like that make a little bit of that chemistry start to shine through. Same with the scene where she's telling Mario that he's coming with her anyway, and then ends up trying to make him feel better by downplaying how quick it took her to get through the obstacle course. I adore the fact that she's not only honest about trying to make him feel better, but he's honest about it actually working. Also worth noting that her, yeah, but I grew up here, is a nice acknowledgement of the fact that the way they get around is literally through platforms and pipes. It's pretty much a way of life for Peach. Speaking of acknowledging things, it's here where I have to admit I would absolutely be a part of Bowser's army, because you might be collectively known as a force of evil who tears down kingdom. You might be in danger of getting smoked at any time, but the turn up after the fight is kinda lit. I was really excited about this scene because it's finally time to see if Bowser got any layers to his character like Mario, Luigi, and Peach have gotten so far. And
we're after years of being sworn enemies. I will ask their princess to marry me in a fairy tale wedding!
oh, thank God, that at least checks out. See, as far as I know, Bowser's goal has always been Peach in some way, shape, or form, but I'm absolutely obsessed with the way they handle it in this movie. Though further explanation will have to wait until a certain musical number. Just know, for right now, the way he embodies the, hey gorgeous, oh you don't want to talk to me? Well fuck you then! Scenario in this movie is just absolutely as terrifying as it should be. 10 out of 10 execution. Luigi's bad day continues with an integral flashback that I will for sure bring up in his character section. But we see Mario has always been down to clown for his brother. Seriously, why is this 3-year-old stance up like a pit bull? Had the other kids spitting up blocks and shit. But after, who is he? He's not important! Exit stage left. This will never fail to make me laugh, I'm sorry. More cute interactions between Mario and Peach. Toad joins the travel party. The journey takes the party across many recognizable locations, and Mamma Mia finally starts to wear out its welcome. We arrive at Peaches, 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 Peaches. After we left the initial showing for this movie, Mom mentioned to me that she was going to ask how I felt about the Bowser song because she thought I might think it was corny. But then she looked over and I was smiling from ear to ear. What she doesn't know is that I've been stuck holding the same smile since this scene. Peaches comes right out of the gate with Bowser stating, Peach, you're so cool. And this is where I get to elaborate on what I was mentioning before. Because Peach is cool in this movie. She's amazing, actually. And thus, this gives Bowser a solid motivation for being as obsessed with her as he is. Imagine how much creepier it would be if Peach had absolutely no agency as a character, and Bowser just wanted her as a trophy wife. The absence of this shallow motivation in favor of something a bit more understandable helps both Peach and Bowser's characterization out in the end. Because even though he's crooning about how much he loves his future waifu, it becomes very clear why Bowser is the villain of the movie. It's not because he wants to steal away the perfect, pure, innocent princess and make her his unwilling wife. It's because Bowser is fucking unhinged. And he wants to make her his unwilling wife. The way in this movie, Bowser can just go from seemingly calm playing the piano with Kamek to just full-on in-your-face rage at the drop of a dime is deranged. And it's what makes him so compelling in my opinion. Also this. Yeah, I don't know if it's Jack Black or SFX from the games, but this whole growling through the nose thing has got to stop. Cause y'all about to make me act up. Baby Peach! Oh my gosh, she's so cute. She kind of reminds me of those Disney animators collection dolls of the princesses as toddlers. Y'all remember those? That said, so far overall, I enjoyed the fast pace of this movie and I admired it for getting right to the point in a lot of areas. But I think I really started to feel the need for slower scenes right around here. Not only because we have Bowser spend like 2 minutes in a flower field and then go right back to Bowser, but because I think a lot of fleshing out of Peach and Mario's dynamic could have been handled here to expand their interactions outside of just her fascination with him also being a human and him needing her help with finding his brother. Oh god, speaking of his brother, is it that time already? Okay, listen, before I get in my get into my mad ramblings, let me just point out some general character animation stuff that I liked. Because Luigi being yanked along by the head Shy Guy so hard that his hat slips down and covers his eyes, and then him continuing to try to walk while trying to see what he can from under his hat, and then him not being able to see and falling forward is such a nice series of details that simultaneously enhance Luigi's adorable clumsiness and make him look absolutely pathetic due to the framing of this whole thing. That said, I'm about to go absolutely apeshit about these next couple minutes, so if you don't want to extra hear all about how the big dragon turtle seems like he's about to do dirty things to the little green plumber, then skip to this timeline. Are the non-rats gone? Okay, good. Let's get it. This scene has so much tension for some reason, and I'm not entirely sure it's sexual, but I'm not entirely sure it's not either. I peeped this pretty much from the teaser where it first appeared, and I was like, oh, okay, of course, in the movie with context, it's obviously not gonna feel like this. But somehow, with context, it got even more aggressively sexual. Picture this. This shit starts off like one of those Harlequin romance novels. Luigi is brought, on his knees by the way, before the king. Bowser is posted up, ready for his new prisoner. When Luigi shows his pure terror through this kind of admittedly adorable shriek. Speaking of adorable, at the risk of sounding like an actual psychopath, I really enjoy how tangibly they portray Luigi's fear in this and the next scene. In this particular instance, he not only makes himself considerably smaller by pulling his hands close to his chest, but the lighting very clearly shows how dilated his pupils are. But anyway, Bowser immediately takes over the situation, coming down the stairs slowly and menacingly. Tension rises, especially since we know Bowser is more than a little bit sadistic. As Comic was told literal moments ago, pain makes the best teacher. So I'm simultaneously like, oh nah, Luigi, you gotta get out of there. And hold up, let him cook. Speaking of Comic, here his old ass come with purely devious intent, sending Luigi to meet a terrible fate. We have a scene that almost directly parallels the one with Mario and Peach from earlier, complete with the curious parties circling around the person of their curiosity and touching on their faces. And widely enough, both parties being thrown at some point. Just swap out asking if a person is a human with one of the most menacing name demands ever. And personally, I would have given up my whole government and social security after being asked with that tone of voice, but that's just me. Real quick, Luigi's nervous laughter here is really charming, but shit's about to get real for him because, alright, Bowser, you're about to marry a princess. That's awesome. In the words of Luigi, whose face has just been scarily lifted by a disturbingly sharp claw, yay! But did you really need to stroke man's face and play with his facial hair in order to ask him about another dude with a mustache? And can we zoom the camera out like just a little bit? Seriously though, the face and mustache stroking scenes on their own do wonders for Bowser's character, I think, showing how he really likes to play with his food, lure his prisoners into a false sense of security before he snaps. He even fixes Luigi's hat at some point. But like, I think it's also the closeness with which this scene is framed that makes us feel so sexually charged, or I guess intimate. Like, I shouldn't be here watching this, right? Even the Shy Guys are intrigued, like, what the fuck is this? Now don't get me wrong, I'm not at all saying this is grounds for starting an actually healthy relationship between these two, but I can't help but look at this like some real enemies to enemies with spice type of shit. And besides,
Do you know him?
Hi! Did I mention that Bowser is terrifying? Because he is absolutely frightening in the latter half of the scene. And yet, he's also still somewhat a schmuck that cares about Peach just very aggressively. Like, why do you have all this energy asking if I know whether or not another guy pulls princesses? Calm down! Not gonna lie, Luigi's answer is not only funny as hell.
Do princesses find him attractive?
They do if they have good taste!
But very character important. But I spent enough time on the scene as is, so let's move on. I don't really have to say it, do I? This nihilistic star is incredibly entertaining. Peach, Mario, and Toad arrive at the Jungle Kingdom, and this is right about the time where the needle drop song inserts really started to grate on my nerves. We've had a few so far, with the only one that worked remotely well in my opinion being No Sleep in Brooklyn during the platformer section. But using Take On Me here is just, let's just say I've spent a weird amount of personal time analyzing the lyrics for Take On Me in the past, and I just don't see how it fits for the scene. One can say, oh, they're just using 80s songs for an 80s property, so just sit back and enjoy the vibes. And honestly, considering I just spent however long analyzing a scene for sexual tension that probably never existed and was never going to be paid off, you valid. It does admittedly get pretty vibey, especially with those big expansive scenes where you can see wide shots of the entire kingdom. Then the group meets Kinky Kong. Whoa. Where that Kong at? Kinky Kong racing. The group meets Cranky Kong, and Mario agrees to some smoke he, Peach, and everyone else across the Jungle Kingdom know he's not ready for. And then we hop right into one of my favorite scenes in the film, animation-wise. DK! It's Donkey Kong! I can't believe they played the rap for some reason. I admittedly don't know much about the Donkey Kong property besides they have banger music and there's a lot of Kongs. But I know I almost lost it seeing Diddy and Dix's designs for this movie. They look amazing! Also, Donkey Kong coming out here making his Kex dance like a frat boy at the tail end of Happy Hour was incredible. And it made me realize that Seth Rogen playing him worked a little too well. Can't forget this moment because holy shit, why is that laugh coming out of a gorilla so hilarious? But as soon as the real fight gets underway, it becomes even more obvious that the whole team of animators, FX department, soundtrack, and voice actors really came together to cook on this moment because Mario really had all this energy to get sat down immediately. Donkey Kong was trying to end the fight early with that kick. Ooh, nice slide! Big fella, that is not the flex you think it is. Meanwhile, Peach is looking like, oh good lord, he's dead! Love the nod to the original Donkey Kong game, and this is the first time I really noticed the color of the girders. I know Fire Mario fans were hot when DK did this. Donkey Kong just starts punishing this Nintendo mascot in his own movie. Then he knocks this man in the air for literally one of the funniest scenes in the film, in my opinion. Because Peach is concerned, she's calling out to Mario, and he just responds, "It's me!" And oh my god, this shit is so fucking funny to me for some reason. He's delirious. This man doesn't know who he is right now. DK actually hit him so hard, he managed to knock rings out this motherfucker. Sonic is sitting on the side like, damn, that's tough. Okay, moving on. Because the way the tables turn when Mario gets his cat suit power up is absolutely filthy. The main thing I enjoy about the scene is how dedicated the animators are to keeping Mario's movement very feline-esque in every shot. And because I enjoy it so much, I'm gonna list the instances I like the most. When Mario finds out he literally has cat reflexes, his tail also reacts. The fact that he has claws to use now, and does so throughout the fight without resorting to human punches pretty much ever again. The quick pawing motion he does when he's getting ready to pounce. He not only uses his claws to catch this barrel and toss it back at DK, but you can feel how much energy it took through the weight of the shot and Chris Pratt's little which in turn exemplifies Donkey Kong's strength because he's just out here throwing these shits back like shots. Every bit of the cat-like way Mario dodges DK's attacks here, still shooting him a look like, say something, as if he isn't currently ass-tooted up in a cat suit. And then, my favorite little instance. Oh my god, he's kneading. He's so satisfied with himself. We have a scene where Peach gives Mario some positive reassurance about his unwillingness to give in, and his reaction is just honestly adorable. You can really see his eyes light up. Then Donkey Kong comes in starting some shit, which I absolutely adore because in a way it highlights the pettiness and sass both of them are capable of. The Mario Kart building scene happens, which is incredible for world building purposes alone, since I've only really watched people play Mario Kart, so I understand very few of the references. But it and the Take On Me scene earlier show that kart racing is a tradition that actually originated in the Jungle Kingdom, and in a way the kingdom has been completely built around it. That is very, very cool. We're moving right on to the next scene because this movie likes to do that a lot, to varying degrees of success. And Bowser is, everything Bowser does in this movie regarding Peach gives me deep secondhand embarrassment, but like in a totally cool way. What I mean is how much effort he's putting in kills me, knowing Peach will never reciprocate, and it makes me want to wilt like a flower. However, it also continues to be intriguing to see that dichotomy between Bowser's two sides, that he could just go from puppy dog eyes to all my friends are dead is just so fascinating to me. And from a character writing standpoint, I'm kind of into it. The whole scenario with Bowser and Kamek dressed as Peach is just wild altogether, but this is the first time I realized that Kamek has a little fang. And honestly, I love them a lot. Not gonna lie though, the absolute non-concern this Blue Koopa commander had when he walked in on his boss and personal confidant like this is just in and of itself concerning. Like, how many times have you found them like this? And nah, because was Kamek gearing up to tongue kiss you know what? Get your coin, Pop-Up. I promise you I've got zero room to judge. Mainly because it's time for the Rainbow Road segment. And there's a lot of really nice micro interactions and just generally cool shit in the beginning of the scene. But it's this particular scene I want to address.
What are you gonna tell me next? That the turtles aren't evil?
No, they're usually pets.
No way.
Yeah, come to Brooklyn, I'll buy you a turtle.
Y'all, the way my heart skipped a beat. So funny side story. Back in high school, a friend of a friend was trying to help me find a boyfriend, and he asked, "What type of guys are you into?" And my answer, verbatim, was, "I don't know, he's nice to me and makes me laugh." I have never seen a human being so disappointed in my actions. So when this scene happened, and I had that reaction, I was literally like, oh no. Not like this. But while I still wish they had a bit more time and space to get to know each other in this film, it's little shit like this that makes Peach being more and more smitten by Mario feel so believable to me. I mean, look at her! Look at that giggle! I totally get it too! Had my ass in the theater like, send me the address, I'm there! The rest of the cartoon goes on with Bowser's forces pulling up, turning this into Mad Max. And I'll admit, unfortunately, most of the Rainbow Road scene lost a bit of the cool surprise factor since I'd seen it in the trailers already. I mean, that's no fault of the movie, and there were honestly still some really cool things, like Peach saving Toad, which was holy shit levels of awesome. And then Blue Shell yelling out the ladder and blowing Mario and DK's shit to hell. The way he circled around them like they do in the game before hitting them felt sufficiently devastating. But then the crew gets kidnapped. DK's quick agreement to Mario not telling anyone he saved his life had me in stitches. Peach makes it back to the Mushroom Kingdom to warn the others just in time for the Bowser pull-up. And
I guess love really makes a guy come out of his shell.
hi, so you remember when I said Peach's looks could kill? Because when she hit him with this, I was like, oh nah, brother, pack it up. It's time to go home. She really had me in the theater wanting to shrivel up. That is a look that says,
boy, if you don't get your squiggly diggly head.
But Bowser persists. Boy, does he persist. And after failing his pickup lines and having to resort to literally threatening Toad's life, he finally gets Peach to agree to marry him, which is crazy because afterwards, he's just like,
Time for a wedding!
like everything is copacetic. Also, what does the honeymoon look like? You know what? Nope, we're moving on. We learn that Bowser's prisoners are going to be ritualistically sacrificed during the wedding. A scene in which I started to realize Luigi really spent most of this movie locked away in a cage like some damsel in distress. And the disappointment about his lack of a role in the film really starts to set in. We get some more of the lovely rivalry between Mario and DK, during which Donkey Kong hilariously ruins a moment of sympathy by telling Mario that his dad being disappointed in him was valid. Mario calls him a smash monkey with a little too much extra emphasis on it. And the two blast out of this freaky eel well thing. Meanwhile, yo, it's King Babam and King Boo! Toad and Peach are clearly up to no good with this bouquet, and honestly, good for them. Then Bowser's just like, I'll be sacrificing them in your honor. All smooth and shit, like Peach is just supposed to be cool with this. In fact, Bowser's moments of delusion are some of the scariest parts of his character. They're also my favorite to witness. He really feels completely justified in his actions. Even after being questioned, he's absolutely baffled as to why this isn't okay. But Peach turns to Elsa on his ass and starts handling both Bowser and his wedding guests. And admittedly, I was kinda about Peach seemingly incapacitating Bowser on her own. But if it's anything this movie has earned at this point, it's the right to cook. Also, I'd like to mention for anyone worried that Bowser might be too soft in regards to Peach, he was literally about to murder her here for not wanting to marry him on a whim. He had all this energy and all this affection throughout the movie, but it ultimately came back down to, fuck you then. Also, this is the first time I noticed this, but Bowser's eyes glow right before he's about to breathe fire. That's fucking awesome. But now, the boys are back in town, and it's time for them to absolutely sauce on the competition, as what do I say about this sequence? I mean, I will literally be here all day if I describe every instance of coordination, small moment of humor, or God, don't even get me started on the Easter eggs. Mario finally steps on a Goomba. Fire DK's design is on point. I have a very special spot in my heart for both this little spin and the two-handed way Mario decides to get up from this ground pound. And oh my God, it's the Tanuki suit. Back at the wedding, Peach is enacting pure devastation. He's dead. Okay, he should be dead. Y'all know how hot just being around lava is? Oh, suspension of disbelief. Got it. Sorry, I slipped there for a moment. Unfortunately, Luigi's grip strength isn't up to snuff. But fortunately, his big brother swoops by with the Tanuki suit just in time. And then these two proceed to have a reunion that had me crying in the club. God, you can feel the utter sense of relief when Luigi's extended Mario! And I promise Lou is gonna be the death of me. I can't get enough of how Luigi rolls to stand on his feet on solid ground first, and then how he and Mario hit the exact same pose of excitement at seeing each other after being apart the whole film. Like that little squad, God. I love how the camera circles around them in their hug, with Mario pulling their heads close while sounding like he's gonna cry. And it might have made my eyes sweat a little bit, but that's none of your business. The exasperated, whew, Luigi does after it's clear they're safe together is mad relatable. And then him going right back into some little brother, what the hell are you wearing shit is magical. And Mario's little tail wags and smile like, you like it? Ugh. But we aren't out of the woods yet. As Bowser shows, he basically stayed frozen the entire time to find his composure, and then still breaks out of the ice on 100. As he launches the Bombmobile to destroy the Mushroom Kingdom, Mario manages to deflect it, stressing me out because isn't that the pipe that leads back to Brooklyn? Turns out it is, because the suction from the explosion not only catapults Mario back to his hometown, but brings Bowser's entire castle with it, causing what I'm sure is marvel amounts of loss of life from debris alone. Luigi, I know you did not just hide in a fucking dumpster. The superstar conveniently falls in a halfway distance between Mario and Bowser, but I don't know, Mario, you might want to let him have that. Because he's about to show you how pissed he really is. Look how dirty he's doing the main character. Bowser the only one who could punch you in the stomach and still blow your back out. And the sound effects in this shot are excellent, portraying how hard Mario got hit just now. Not gonna lie, I heard Bowser's confession of how he just wanted to be happy, and I started feeling a little sorry for him. But you are doing entirely too much, sir. Mario's out here fearing for his life. He saw that rock hit that car and didn't even have the second to say, oh nah, before his ass was scooped up and thrown like dirty laundry. I have never seen Tail Whip be this effective. And here's where I have to pause and say the brutality of this beatdown had me excited. Because as a Pokemon fan comic creator, I love seeing the way other Nuzlockes or just other animated movies in general portray their feral beasts battling it out. Especially the ones that have to create inventive ways to portray the skill and brutality of the parties fighting without relying on blood or gore or due to ratings or some other shenanigans. Now, Mario isn't exactly a feral beast fighting on equal grounds here yet, but I'll show you in a second why this mindset still stands when the last fight comes into play. Mario is down bad hiding behind some diner seating from the beginning of the film, but prompted by their commercial and the only Mamma Mia that matters, he marches back out to save Brooklyn. And Donkey Kong, who's actually literally about to get murked by Bowser, holy shit. Now, when I saw the commercial cut off to show only Mario there, I was really worried that they were implying that he'd have to save Brooklyn alone, and that Luigi would just be in a dumpster for the rest of the ending. But after Peach sends the superstar flying, and both Mario and Bowser on a mad scramble to get it back, we get... The camera slowly pans out to show Luigi holding a sewer lid as a shield, an action that was actually foreshadowed earlier in the movie. I adore this scene so much, how he repeats Mario's words back to him.
Nothing can hurt us as long as we're together.
But, oh boy, this is just a precursor to a scene I love even more. The scene that made me want to make this whole video. They're brothers, and by God, are they super. I've been discovering a lot of funny ass anime fight commentary channels lately and was absolutely desperate to see one of them talk about this fight scene. Because I just needed to know that someone felt this was as savage of an ass whooping as I did. But here I am, deciding to just do it myself. So here goes. Top reasons why the superstar beat down the end of Super Mario Bros. Was disrespectful as hell. You already know the superstar music goes hard. But this fucking twin punch? And they are still posing! Mario really said, fuck out of here. Here, y'all can have y'all man's back. And you cannot tell me Luigi's little, oh hey Spike, after saving his life, is absolutely insane levels of pettiness. Luigi joins back up with Mario to absolutely decimate Bowser's forces in one blow. It's your fodder. Get out of my face. In animated form. It did get caught up a little too much trying to sauce out in front of their parents, but that's alright because Piranha Plant got an oopsie doopsie upset stomach and spits them out in perfect Bowser violation distance, where they proceed to put the paws on this literal dragon. And dear viewers, this is where the real fun begins. After swinging off somebody's phone line, messing up their booty call, they perfectly execute a double kick to the chin. Mario does what he has been showing he's best at this entire movie, being a close combat fighter, climbing up Bowser's back and flipping him, perfectly lining him up for a mean good check from Luigi, who then uses the mushroom to get all the way the fuck out of there as Mario gets more licks in up close. And at first, I was like, where is he going? But then Luigi literally comes from the rafters with the people's box and conks Bowser across the head, showing he prefers to keep his distance rather than fighting head on, which then sends Bowser skidding across the concrete, but Mario stops him with his foot. absolutely filthy behavior. But it's not over yet, because he then flips over Bowser. Yes, flips. And he and Luigi hit him with the L might not be real, but here, let me show you how it would've looked. Launch this man up into the sky and follow suit with a crazy, absolutely wild wind-up. I have never seen Mario and Luigi look this bloodthirsty, but they are locked in. And then they twin punch him back down to earth, flamethrower cancel him, and hit him with a double kick to the dome, so vicious and full of hatred that I'm sitting here in the theater thinking they forgot we need to leave room for a sequel after this. It just, oh, God bless. I just really needed to get this off my chest. Alas, we are finally at the end of the film, where Bowser is down tremendous. Mario follows up with Peach about getting a pet turtle, and I'm barely hanging on at this point. Luigi's reaction to their dad finally finding Mario up to his standards makes my heart swell, as well as this dork's reaction to Peach calling him brave. Then there's the fact that he tears up towards the end of the scene. Somebody protect him. And nobody, absolutely no one, questions why the streets are filled with giant mushrooms or why there is a giant talking gorilla. But yay! Brooklyn is saved! And the best part, it looks like the brothers work as plumbers between worlds, but live together in the Mushroom Kingdom. And what's gotta honestly be the best movie send-off I've seen in a good while. And that's it for the Mario movie proper, because I'm not going into the after credit scene. What I do want to go into for a short period is the characters I found most enjoyable. First up is Peach, who I admittedly thought was going to be the stereotypical strong female character in the mainstream media sense. She handles everything, she hates her male counterparts, etc, etc. But she actually wasn't ignoring at all like I feared. In fact, I found a lot of charm in her sense of humor and badassery because they implemented a little something called balance and nuance. Crazy concepts, I know. Peach also had her singular brain cell moments, such as the moment right before she was about to leave with Mario and head to the Jungle Kingdom, where after not knowing what to say, she's like, oh shit, he's not important, with so much confidence that even I would be like, you know what, you're right, I ain't shit. On the flip side of this whole thing is Bowser, whose character I surprisingly already went in depth on in the movie recap, about why I love him so much, But I'll just say one thing. Bowser is the where my hug at dude if he was over 10 feet tall and could breathe fire. If you don't know why that's terrifying, then, well, just know that's a fancy way of saying he doesn't take no for an answer, and instead of being a regular dude, he has at his disposal very convincing ways of getting what he wants. Moving on to the stars of the show, who I was originally going to give separate sections, but as I kept writing the script, I realized more and more just how much these two work in tandem, as I assume siblings often do. I don't know, I only had cousins I was close with, I'm a single child. When it comes to their personalities, Mario is a straightforward go-getter who doesn't know when to quit, as he's told many, many times throughout the film. While Luigi's neuroticism is not only palpable, but super relatable to myself personally, as someone who has pretty heavy anxiety. And this difference shows up not only in something as obvious as the way they carry themselves, with Mario starting out making big wide movements and Luigi starting out making himself very small and trying to take up as little space as possible, but it also shows up in a small scene I couldn't believe I was seeing captured in an animated video game adaptation, where Luigi brings Mario his adorably matching mug, and while Mario takes it to the head, Luigi gingerly sips it with his hand held out under it. You might be asking why this is such a big deal, but I literally do this. I'm also honestly impressed with how these differences show up in the way their character arcs play out too. Because Mario is louder and more persistent, he obviously has more of a typical hero's journey where his progress is very visible and he gets better at platforming, fighting, and just existing in the Mushroom Kingdom. His character arc is very external, even getting him the external validation of his father to really bring it to a close. Luigi's arc is much more subtle, and while I wish there was more time to explore that in the film, I think they did a really good job with what they had time to work with. He obviously gets stronger and braver throughout the film, but the development seems really rushed if you only look at the big scenes that are given space, like Spike, the dog, bullying flashback, and the shield scene. But it's when you take a look at all the stuff in between that you really start to see the full arc, because Luigi's arc, unlike Mario's, is largely internal. Luigi goes from not being able to not only do anything, but say anything to defend himself or Mario in front of Spike, or even their family at dinner, to the smallest confidence boost when he's able to physically defend himself at least a little bit against the dry bone, to feeling small again when the Shy Guy is taken prisoner and he has this flashback of Mario protecting them when they were little. It's at this point he realizes things have to change. He can't just go on being protected the entire time. And so when he arrives at Bowser's, even though he's a prisoner and he's being approached by probably the scariest motherfucker he's ever seen next to Spike, he still verbally defends his brother's honor. He might can't do anything in the situation, but he sure as hell can use his words. Unfortunately, we go a long time at this point without seeing Luigi do anything, but when they land back in Brooklyn, he has his own crisis of confidence inside that fucking dumpster. Then he jumps in to physically defend Mario, who has always physically defended him, before finally going on an offense against Bowser, someone who, quite frankly, threatened him and, in all seriousness, invaded his personal privacy without his consent. But the thing I love about what this movie does the most with these characters is that they're not flanderized tropes. Mario's not just a brave, stubborn, protective older brother, and Luigi's not just a timid, anxious, scared younger brother. I absolutely lost my mind at those times where Mario was very visibly hesitant or nervous, or when he'd do that little awkward social wave, and at times where Luigi was loud, proud, and showed his sass. There's obviously times where Mario was comforting Luigi when he'd get anxious, but then Luigi also came to comfort Mario when he locked himself away to try to ignore the pain of being a disappointment to their father. Real people are very layered, and one trait rarely sums up the totality of a person, whether it be their gender, skin color, sexuality, mental illness, or otherwise. So I was absolutely overjoyed when these two were actually allowed to feel real. And I have one last thing to say, just to put the cherry on top of this hyperfixation cake. When Mario gets excited or overconfident, he often slips into the Mario voice, lots of woohoos and such. And then when Luigi gets excited or overconfident, the situation is often met with a chuckle or hearty laugh. He does this when he's nervous too. I just honestly think that's such a cute touch. So here's some examples of each.
Whoa! I'm tall.
Yes! Mario!
Anyway, I love the fuck out of this movie, and as you can tell, I had more than enough to get off my chest. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my unhinged ramblings, because I definitely enjoyed writing them out. But that's it for now. Pcaara, signing out.